Here we go. Trying something. I'm always trying things, just don't worry about it, but I hope you can see me now. Hello and welcome back. I'm People Joe, and this is Workers and Resources Soviet Republic after the Crime and Justice update went into public beta. Now that does not mean whatever you're going to see next is going to be exactly how it's going to be. There's some tweaking. There has been tweaking a long time. Since I had access to the branch, a lot of things have changed and gotten a little easier. Not saying that everything gets easier or harder, but it may change. So take everything you're going to see here with a little grain of salt. But I've seen a ton of questions just in general and just context that I thought was common knowledge that just came up over and over again. And I figured, hey, why not have a live stream at a terrible time for most of my viewers, but I'm hoping at least everyone in the Americas is happy to see me right now instead of, at 2 in the afternoon or noon in the at noon. So yes, this is labeled tutorial. I will try to explain everything that I can through Crime and Justice, and my goals are, let's state those really clear, my goals are to explore what the new minimum number of workers is to get started, which also means what's the new minimum number of money that you need to start with. We're starting with easy money, but that's just a gauge. That's not really supposed to be a here or there. Also, I would like to clear a couple things up about the rail distribution office. There seems to be some confusion on that at this point. And then I hope we get to play a little bit and you can ask any questions that you have, because there is a lot to uncover. It's not just the Crime and Justice. It's not just the rail distribution office. It's not just the change to all the factors that go into the game. Everything that you can see in these stats over here, all of this is all different now. Plus your overlays are different, plus a couple new vehicles and all that other stuff. But there's, I would almost describe this as a new game. Not quite, but it's a new era in the game that's still changing, that's still evolving, that's still doing a lot of things. So that's all I wanted to let you know. This will be a longer tutorial. We'll see if I keep it as a tutorial thumbnail or if I'm going to change that to just a live stream about Crime and Justice, because I also don't want to lie to you. That's pretty simple. If this is not super explanatory about everything, I'll move it around, but if it helps anyone, then I will count it as a tutorial. First, hello everyone, this is a live stream. We have CJ, Steel Bamov, Submariner, CJ, the Seraph, good to see y'all. And then there's this Bial Geo guy that said something. Ozon, hey, how's it going? Europe is still awake. Not all of Europe, but yes. Zabot Zombie, moin moin. And then, yeah, Alexander John, how's it going? Yeah, good to see that we still have people from all over the world. That's actually always exciting. I brought my apple juice. It's from Europe, technically, so I hope you like your apple juice too. Good stuff. Excellent. As always, let me know if there's something weird about the stream. Put any questions in the chat, please, and at me, at BeeballJoe. Otherwise, I will have problems seeing it, and I want to make sure that I answer anything that you may have while you're here. And yeah, we go from there. If you watched my video from today, don't forget that I pre-record all my series about a week in advance. I have recorded number 5 and 6 for the Workers and Resources series on Sunday, and the update didn't come out till Monday, so I don't have any mods or any of those things yet. So just keep that in mind when you leave your comments on there. I always appreciate your comments, but sometimes it's just, you should know better. So that's all. Let's get started here. We have Timothy Price Sr. Yes. And welcome to all of you guys. Glad to have you with us. The first thing, we're gonna play vanilla only, no mods at all, no buildings, no vehicles, no nothing mods. Why? Because that's how my tutorials work. Pretty simple. Yes, there are mods out now that we can use, especially for the huge Crime and Justice buildings like this one, but that's not what we're gonna play with. We are going to start by just building the first city and exploring what is different now and what we have to discuss, what we have to understand that has really changed now that this update is out, which is more than you expect. And I'm gonna allow those to build, but then I'm gonna turn off auto construct. It is more than you expect, because you may say, well, there's Crime and Justice now, right? Yes, you're right, there is Crime and Justice now, but there's also a different way of people reacting to on the different reaction levels. And that alone will change a lot. Plus, happiness will affect your productivity now a lot more than it did before. Happiness, just in general, will affect a lot of the other factors that you have going on. And that thing alone, that happiness is affected by a lot of things like loyalty, like health, like culture, like sport, like... that may be it. And health, did I mention health? It's all affected by that. But then on the other hand, loyalty is also affected by those things. And loyalty negatively impacts happiness or positively impacts happiness and the other way around. There are different thresholds now that you shouldn't go under anymore. Once you go under those, you have a real problem, which you probably saw in the episode from today. So I'm going to try to touch on all of those while we're running through, I don't want to say the motions, but while we're running through things here. This is modless. Yes, of course, Seraph. Of course it is modless. It's always modless in my tutorials. We don't play with the mods yet. And as far as I heard, they don't all work yet. So keep that in mind when you do things. The first thing that I want to touch is shopping center. Back in the day, the small shopping center has been enough and was enough forever. And I would argue that may not be the case anymore. Why? Because happiness affects productivity, and if your productivity level shrinks to a level that is just suboptimal, then your sellers in the shop, if they have 30% productivity instead of 100% or close to 100%, they will only serve 1/3 of the customers, which by default, you can serve, let's see here, shopping center. Yes, shopping center can serve, with 25 people, that can serve 150 people or 150 visitors. Once you get to 1/3 of that, then every seller can only serve about 2 people, and that's it. And if you have a large city, serving 50 people at a time, if you have 1,000, you will probably not be able to serve everyone. You have a lot of people waiting in front of your shop. That's the first thing you should understand and consider, that your productivity will drop if your happiness is low, and that will affect your shop. Some people are talking about wanting to change that to not affect certain critical buildings. I'm not a big fan of that because I believe it's just part of the game and we should keep it the way it is. But I'm starting with a shopping center because it does work. Cool. Cinema, you need some culture. There are other culture options, but the cinema, has been the safest as far as I know. And I'm just going to keep that the way it was. Oh, this is right. I did mean to put a construction office down because without one, we can't really do all the things that I want to do. Let's put it here near the river. I don't need anything fancy from you. Just get you built. Come on. Come on. Build a little faster. Thank you. Pause that again. Get a couple excavators out. Where are you? Please. Perfect. Just need about 2. Yes, so keep all of that in mind when you lay out your cities now, which means your general city layout is probably not going to be hugely different than what you used to. However, your late game cities will be very different because you have to account for things. And I can see that a small store, actually no, a grocery store may become more useful because the things that people want a lot is food. And if you can't supply enough food in one of your shopping centers anymore, then you have to find other ways to do it. Now you can supply just another shopping center, but they're not that small. They're not that small. Compared to a grocery store is like half the size of this, and that can be a lot. It can be a really good option to supply your late game citizens, so keep that in mind. Yes, so we have this one, this one, this one. I do want a pool. I'm never going away from the pool. The pool is an awesome addition since Seasons, and it works for sports, so don't underestimate that. The other thing that you want, still, obviously, school. Where's my school? I thought it would be over there. I guess it's over here, and that is fine. Put it somewhere where it belongs. I'm leaving a little bit of extra space everywhere, but I'm kind of concentrating everything around this bus stop. Because bus stops are great to get your people to and from all of these amenities. Let's call it that. That sounds good. There's that, and then obviously you need a hospital. Health is super important for your average age, so don't underestimate that. I'm considering moving something away here a little bit. What's this? This was the school. The school is a little bit too close to this. I wanted to be able to run a footpath across here just because it looks nice. I want to do the same thing for here. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is exactly why you should always use a planning mode and not just start building hoping you get it right the first time. Just plan it out. It's a lot better for you and it's a lot more fiscally responsible. Yeah, that's the word. That's the word we're going to use. Put the school there, have all the basics here. Now, is this it? Nope, absolutely not. Not even close. What else do we need? One thing that has been pretty clear since for a little while is university is not optional anymore. University is super important because one of the changes that you probably hopefully read about is that you should... The time it takes to get a student from education 1.0 to education 2.0, which is university educated, has been elongated. Before this update, it took about 1 in-game month for a student to go to school every day and get the diploma. Now it takes between 3 and 6 months at least if they can go every day. That's a random randomizer in there, and that is a huge difference because it takes 3 times as long. Now, if you start early enough and if you have enough capacity at your universities for them to go to school all the time, that won't be a problem. My current season 4, almost everyone is educated. I'm kind of surprised by that. I'm kind of annoyed by that because I was hoping it would take longer. However, the bigger your city, your republic grows, the more work you want them to do, the less likely it is that that's going to keep up that way. So keep that in mind when you build it. Just get your university right away at the beginning. The one that I usually choose is a technical university because the cheapest one. There's the medical one. It's a little bigger, but it's also square, and then there's the headquarters of the Communist Republic Party? What? Communist Party, that's the word. It's bigger and it's more expensive. So I just go for the cheapest one here. Currently, they still all do the same. I'm really hoping that that's going to be changed, that they all do different things. That would be great. Are we done yet? No. In your first city, I'm going to argue that you don't need dorms yet. University halls of residence. These are really good for the reason I just told you, because it takes a lot longer now for people to get their education done. You should keep, well, at least 1 or 2 dorms near university, wherever they are. I don't believe people can move to the dorms from anywhere in the Republic yet, so they're still city-bound and within walking distance. But it still helps within the city later on. And if you have problems getting people educated, definitely put a dorm down. In Season 4, I have 1 dorm building, and maybe that's the reason why everyone's educated. I honestly don't know. But yeah, there's that one. So I'm not going to put one down right now. Another thing, the Seraph and I did some testing, actually before today's episode, because I couldn't figure out how to get past the problems that we were having. An orphanage. It is a huge asset with Crime and Justice enabled, because Crime and Justice reduces your happiness so frequently and so harsh when it happens that people will just escape. The people that escape may have children. If you don't have an orphanage, those children just go away. And your population will just plummet to nothing. With an orphanage, you have a chance to catch those. The orphanages, if your happiness, if you have problems with Crime and Justice, will still plummet really fast, like not in a good way at all. But at least an orphanage will give you a little bit of a buffer in there. And they have, you can keep 160 they call it visitors, 160 orphans here, which is a pretty big number if you start in cosmonaut mode. It makes a huge difference, and doesn't take that long for a 12-year-old to become a 21-year-old and actually move out. So keep that in mind. Yeah. So another note on that. Right now, it's about 1 month in-game is 1 sim year. So after 6 months, most of your students will probably move out, and 160 people in 6 months is a lot. But there you go. Obviously, it's not a perfect number, but just something to keep in mind. However, an orphanage will require food, clothes, and meat. Very important. Without that, nothing's going to get done. So I would like to put this somewhere where people can get there to work, but also put it somewhere where it's not completely in the way. Is this the best city layout? No, absolutely not. That's not what I'm building here. And I also believe that the city layout is one of the freedoms that every player should employ for themselves, because it's just fun. Okay, what else? Well, that's pretty much everything besides the kindergarten. I always wait for the kindergarten until much later because there's not a lot of space for kids in them anyways, and most little groups of housing or residential units need their own kindergarten. So whatever you do, I like to wait. You can place it down earlier, but also it's not a huge building, so you can usually fit it in other places. Fire station, I would like to keep this generally until later on to put it somewhere on the edge of the city. Why? Because the edge of the city is usually also close to the industry, so if you can place one fire station that covers your city and the industries, you're a lot better off, and you don't have to build another fire station by your industries. But that's a side note. You can also just always build a second fire station. They only take about, 20-ish workers times 3, but then you also have to have the frequency of buses to keep them staffed all the time. So I'm putting that later. Okay, let's get to the big ones. The big hitters. All of these, crime and justice. All 4 buildings. One of them, secret police. We knew from before. Is secret police important? Well, loyalty is more important now because loyalty affects just about everything in the game. So if you don't know the loyalty, well, you will always know the loyalty up here. It will tell you for your whole republic. I don't like that it does that. I want the accounting building to be around for you to be able to see these statistics, but right now the game will tell you what your loyalty is in your republic. In general, if you're close to 40%, you don't have much to worry about. But higher loyalty gives you bonuses on happiness. It gives you bonuses on when people don't have something for a while. They may not, and have high loyalty, they may choose to not escape instead of escaping, so you can keep them longer. And just overall, having high loyalty just means you don't have the penalties low loyalty gives you. At what point do you get penalties? Anything below 5% on any of the needs, of the citizen needs, will give you increased penalties. Anything above 5% will give you regular penalties. But one of the changes that happened from the previous version is before, essentially, once you got to 0% of anything, the chance of that coming up, like alcohol or religion, were really, really small. And that meant that you never got those happiness penalties because someone wanted alcohol all the time. Now that's different. Once you hit 0, your penalties actually increased, and the likelihood that they come up is not decreased. They will always come up all the time, which is why alcohol can help you. Now, not everyone wants the same amount of alcohol, and alcohol is a mean to increase your happiness, which will increase your productivity, but alcohol also reduces your health. And if you have lower health, you usually have a smaller birth rate, which will decrease the amount of the increase in population that you can expect. So those are all things that you have to consider. So yes, we'll place the secret police just so we know what the loyalty is. So then later on, when these buildings are done, let's just get that one done quick and this one hopefully done too. I don't think the other ones have something. You should start playing with this, which is why we built the secret police. Set this to a reasonable number. I like 30% to start with because back in the day, previous version, loyalty would only just generally approach the percentage of the teachers in the building. And that's it. Now, loyalty will approach the percentage of the teachers in the building with a randomly generated factor of plus or minus 20%. So a person can get up to 50% in this case, and if they come back to school at some point, then the next person can get up to 70%. It can also go down, for sure, but the going down should be counteracted by the monuments that you have to build. So all of that is important, but if you want to use this government loyalty trigger, you need the secret police. If you don't have the secret police and you don't know what the loyalty of citizens are, then this whole counter does not make a difference because it's not applied. If you don't know, you don't know, so it doesn't matter. So make sure you have a secret police because loyalty is very, 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 very important. Great. More things. Yes, police station. All of these new crime and justice buildings, I know Peter has already contracted one of his modelers or designers to build smaller versions of this, so they are coming. Pretty certain about that. I just don't know when. And I won't know when because I'm not a developer, so Peter is the guy that built this game. Peter Adamczyk. And yes, there are smaller versions planned, just not right now, so deal with what you have, and we are playing vanilla. Get a police station down, you don't really have an option. If you get mods that work, great. If you get mods that don't work, you're out of luck. Then a courthouse has to go somewhere. There are differences here. The police station is like a hospital or a fire station, as in it has a range that it can apply itself to. So it's not a ton, but it's about 2.5 kilometers. No, not even that, but it definitely covers one city. It could cover 2 cities if you have them really close together. But yeah, it works. It's fine, and it kind of works exactly like a hospital. It just covers areas. And that's what we have here now. I like it. I may have to move this down. I don't know if I like it there. The courthouse, on the other hand, does not have a range. The courthouse applies to the whole republic. So you technically may get away with one. You may not. You have to look at what the actual crime rate is in your republic and if your one courthouse can actually solve all the cases that need to be solved. The same applies for your... where are you? Wrong button. The same applies for the prison. The prison is huge, but you only need one in your republic. And that is really good news if you ask me. I'm going to put that a little far away here because I want to start putting some residential buildings in here as well. So putting this really far away. But only one per republic. There is a good chunk of space in there, and you can actually, they're called visitors again, they're not criminals or inmates, they are visitors. You can actually set the crime penalty or the time in prison for all the different crimes in the courthouse, and I'll show you how to do that later as well. But we are pretty close to all the things that we need. Something else that you need, that you can't get away from, is monuments. I have found that one monument can be enough. They don't stack as much anymore as they did before, but one monument is a pretty good start. I generally like to go just with a couple. It's a little safer. You don't have to worry about it too much, but I'm just placing 3 here, just like this, in a row, and they should cover all of it, because one of the changes that we also have is this tells you what the government loyalty is like before with the range on it, but once it's built, you can click on it and it will show you all the buildings that it's actually touching, that it's able to reach, so you actually know what your influence radius is. All right, this is a pretty good start. I'll connect the roads here just for a second, and then I'll wait if you guys have any questions, and if you do, I would love to answer those. But yeah. What's going on over here? Steel mob ground. You mentioned that they will be releasing different sized buildings, such just for the New York Crime and Justice buildings, or many other buildings too. Peter is very aware that the game currently is not very forgiving in terms of how big you have to start. It's just not a high priority, simply because there are so many good mods out that do exactly that, that make you, then enable you to build a smaller republic if you want to. And from what I understand, Peter is planning on doing something similar like the when the tourist buildings came out. Just have a public mod contest and let people submit their ideas, and then implement those into the vanilla game. I'm pretty sure they were compensated, the people that won the tourism contest the first time, so I'm sure that's going to happen again. But no, all buildings are going to be. You get more of everything, but honestly, I'm not against mods, but I prefer the vanilla buildings just because it feels like it's more intended to be that way. But I'm starting to warm up to a lot of the mods. As long as the mod is not breaking the game or changing the game mechanics or changing game ratios, super happy to use mods. Just for vanilla, just for my tutorials. I believe sometimes it's hard for people to find all the mods that I may use. Also, side note, if you want to use the mods that I use, maybe just read the description under the videos and don't just throw a comment in there asking for something that's already in the descriptions, because I do share all the mod collections that I have and specific mods that I'm using always in the descriptions, always there, always has been there, so maybe take advantage of that. Yeah, rant over. Okay, don't forget that most of your city needs to be connected via footpaths, because your gravel roads are not going to cut it. Pretty simple. Gravel roads give you 115% walking boost, where gravel roads only 65%, is that right? 112 walking speed. where a gravel road goes to, and this is not news, gravel road only 75%. The walking speed actually affects your walking distance, because the way the distance that I can walk is calculated is how long can you walk in 1 hour. If your walking speed is 75%, well, you walk less. If your walking speed is 112, you walk more in 1 hour. Pretty simple. So keep that in mind when you do things. Yes, let's get some residential buildings in here. And I just have my favorites. I really like this one, the 75 prefab. It seems to have the most area. Oh, another thing that I can mention here, and I'm gonna do it so that I don't need the road connections, I hope. Another thing that I can mention, the quality of flats is supposed to impact loyalty, at least happiness, which in turn should impact loyalty. So keep that in mind. You can't just go for the crappiest apartments anymore. You actually have to present something that is livable. Oh, I like how they all fit. That's wonderful. That looks good. Honestly, this is what? This is 300... Number 300, 600, so about 700 people. Let's add a couple more here. Okay, that looks good on this side. I would like... Would I like? Sure. There's the courthouse. And this is going to be a relatively packed city. I'm gonna see how packed I can actually make this. Can I get these to connect in a decent way? Yes, I can. Wow. I am surprised. If that is the case, I'm just going to add a footpath here. There you go. I didn't expect this to actually work, so pardon my surprise, my surprise face. But that looks good. We have these workers. I think I'm currently inviting all the citizens, which is a mistake. I'm not going to click on every single one because we at least need this many, but I'm going to turn citizens off. You can do that down here. You can also do, and you can only do that when you have a residential building selected. Otherwise, this get citizens is not there. The other way to do it is go down here and turn off get citizens in the building. You can do the same thing. You can also change it, and then you can allow citizens to move into this building. That is for workers actually moving within your republic. So keep all of that in mind when you build things. I know there was someone, Cuba de Soy, actually had those questions before, and he told me that he couldn't do something that I was pretty sure you can do. And there's one more way to do it. Oh, I think this is my city area. You can also click on the city area, and then you get these blue dots highlighted, and you can turn off allow citizens to move into the city as well. However, this does not affect the get citizens mechanic. This is only for moving citizens throughout your republic. Delta, how is the setup? This is just a tutorial. I'm probably not going to revisit this after we're done, if that's what you're asking. Great. So we have a handful of people here. I would like to get a few more residential buildings. Now we're just going to go a little bigger. 127, 189, 137. Why don't we just do these? Just a handful of them. 1, 2... 3, 4. Trying to make the city look representable as well. And no, once we're done with the residential buildings, we are still not done with everything, because we need the utilities. We need power, heat, obviously not water yet, but that is something that's coming later on. So let's call these 150 each, so 300, 600, 900, essentially 1800 on that side and a little less here. My gut feeling is we need about 1,200 people to even get started in the new meta with the new setup. So we'll see how far off I am. Place your bets now. Place your bets now if that's something you care about. You like being right? This is your chance. Again, footpath. If you play hardcore or if you play cosmonaut mode, this is not exactly how you're going to do it, because you will actually... Well, you may still actually need a setup that's this large to begin, simply because of all the new mechanics that you have to take care of, and you may not have a real other option. But I mean, I like it. Does that count? That guy goes there. That guy can go here. Use as many footpaths as you can, and if you can, try to give yourself enough room to allow for footpaths to run in between buildings whenever appropriate, because that should help you a lot. Get one in there, one over here. That's a monument right there. It looks like that one's not going to get a footpath connection, so may as well take it down. Because once the monuments burn down, obviously they go away, but they cost a lot of steel, so it's not a good thing to just waste. Because steel is always, always, always very, very expensive. I'm going a little overboard here with the footpaths. It's better to overdo it than underdo it, but please, please, please use your own imagination to get this done the way that you like. That one can go there, that one can go here, have another connect right here. I will put another monument right in front of the prison, don't worry. That's not gonna be the showstopper here. Connect you and you. Obviously these are not connected yet. And then normally I would probably imagine that I put the fire station somewhere on this side. I don't know exactly where yet, but that's a pretty good guess. Yes. That's good. There's the university. All of those are fake connected, I suppose. I don't want to go totally overboard here, but I kind of am. So, hope you forgive me. You don't want to go there, you want to go there, you want to go here. Yep, I figured you can go somewhere. Yes, you have to be connected, and then you... This will be a big enough shortcut that it's actually worth it. I think this is pretty good for right now. This one needs a footpath. The main thing that you want to look for here when you set it up this way is that everyone can reach the station that you have, and if you make this a rail station, great. But then you have to plan for rails as well in your first city, otherwise you have a problem. And once everyone can reach the station, you just have to make sure that the station can reach all the buildings that you want people to go to from the station, which I'm pretty sure we're pretty set here. So no real problems. What did I do? I forgot one monument. Somewhere here is what I was thinking you could fit. While we have you here, put one there. It's right in front of the prison, and then get your peripherals set up. These obviously are a little pesky because they need road connections when you don't want to really use road connections to get them connected. But these are pretty much unchanged to the old meta of the game. You just have to supply enough to cover everything. If you're low on power production, that is a different problem entirely. I'm not sure that I'm covering this guy. Really? Really? We're covering you if I put you there. Put one here and put one here, that pretty much covers everyone. Great. You didn't get the road connection. Playing that game again. Super fun. Gotta make sure that I have that building down there, which I do. 250 meters. I think 300 is the max, but that looks good. Steel beam up. Have you ever shipped students from other towns to university via rail? If so, what are your thoughts on it? It works great. Works perfectly great. Most of season 3 was that. I had a university every 3 or 4 cities, and I had one main university town. Just brought all the students in there. It worked great. Not a problem at all. The only thing you have to make sure is that you have enough professors in your city where the university is all the time, and then everything's great. The big vanilla universities are so large that it can actually take most of a train load of students. So it was no problem at all. Now that one is in. I don't currently know what the heat exchanger rate needs to be. And that may be a small problem. We are covering everyone from right here, but I don't... I think that's good. I do want this guy to get a road connection. Obviously, we have both nodes occupied right there, which is not great. That's not the road that I want. Give me this one. There you go. And then maybe we have another node right here. Awesome. That worked. Better than I expected. Yes, there's a heat exchanger. Now let's get our power in here, and then after we're done, the main thing that I want to figure out, I guess I need a high voltage power switch. Sure, I really don't care what this looks like right now. Then we need a high voltage transformer. Essentially looks like this, but I'm gonna get you here. Yep, it's a weird connection, but I'm okay with it. I really wish these would all... The stations that look like through stations should be through stations, but they're not through. Sadly, but that's okay. Get that one connected here. Get me a high voltage power line. You just go in there, you connect in there. Obviously, this is all old meta. Nothing here has really changed, so I'm not really explaining too much on this side just because it's fine. The thing that you do have to watch out is just the productivity. If you run into issues with productivity, then yeah, it doesn't matter what your capacity of your buildings here is, of your utility buildings. You have to make sure that you have enough power, enough heat, enough just stuff to run your city. And if you don't have that, the citizens are not going to appreciate it. Go there and then go here. That actually looks kind of decent. So this is power, this is city, this is crime and justice setup. This is not setting up food and yeah, just deliveries of things. So that is another thing I'm gonna do. Since I learned how to do distribution offices right, this is totally worth it. I really, really like it. And I will never do it any other way. So put your distribution office close to the source. That's a good place. This is not an ideal place because you probably have a traffic jam here at some point. But for the intents and purposes of this video, right there is good. If you expand more, you want to keep this close to where your source will be, but also close to the border because it's going to do a lot of activity at the border. Ref counter. Once the city expands past walking distance to the central station, this is a better to create another main station or bus people for smaller stops. With the new option of transferring people, the transfer option, I believe that just a centralized bus circle or bus network is actually very, very viable. I haven't played with it yet, but if you have enough buses to go around your city every so often, then you should be able to catch most of the workers. You're probably not going to catch all of them unless you use the bus walk cheating mechanic that I use sometimes, where you just have people go from one bus stop and assign them to work at another bus stop and assign them to work at another bus stop. That way you generally don't miss many people unless the platform is overflowing. But I think if you just use 3 of these large bus platforms in your city, just spread them out, or 5 or 6 or however you want to lay out your city, and bring them all to a central train station, that can be a very, very, very good way to get people around and actually make things work. Totally believe that. Okay, these are all here. Obviously, I only have heating started. I don't have a heating plant yet. The heating plant we should probably plan. And when I plan a heating plant, the minimum distance to city limits, which I'm going to say is here, is about 1,000. 1 kilometer, 1,000 meters. Don't want to go too far, but I don't want to go too close. Right here, that's a really good spot. And then when I do this, I like to put a border road. Now I do. Before I really didn't do this. I get this one in here and then just get a nice direct route to the city. And this is where your first industry is going to go, because you probably want to bus in people for your heating plant as well as for like all the other industries that you could put here, like your construction industry. Right now the construction office is over there. You could have placed it somewhere here, but this is really the first construction office that you want, so you have free landscaping for right now. As long as you have a pause that don't even use fuel, which is awesome. Speaking of fuel, that's a thing that you need, because otherwise your buses can't run. See if we can find a good location for that. Maybe in here. No. You don't want to go there. Just make sure that you have power connected, and a good place can be near your construction office, but I think that's a little far away. I prefer here on this junction because vehicles are going to drive by here more often. And now is the time to add the missing pieces. One is a fire station. I would hope if I put the fire station right here, it will be covering the city as well as the industrial area over here, and it should have enough workers coming in just from this area to be staffed all the time. That is important. Let's add a little extra walking space. That is good. And then, because I haven't yet, let's add a couple kindergartens. You don't need a ton, and even if you run out of kindergarten space every once in a while, you should still be fine. Maybe I can even put one in here. Can I? Yes, I can. Wow. Did not plan for that. There's one. Just with the amount of people that we have here, you need at least one more. I think it's almost... You can almost say a kindergarten can serve up to 1,000 workers. That may not be totally accurate, but it's good. It's accurate enough for me. The thing is that your baby booms are flowing around. They're not stable. They may be more in one part of the year than the other part of the year. And if you have a lot of babies, that's not really a problem because that means you will have a lot more workforce coming in very soon. So sometimes it's okay to just have parents not work because of their babies. Sometimes you may want those parents right now, and then you have a problem that you have to fix. But that's all okay. We're almost done with the city planning, and once we're done with the city, I would like to get to a rail distribution office because once this is working, we are doing really, really well. So to summarize, what things have I changed so far compared to the normal beta meta? Really just, you needed a lot more big buildings, which is why we're starting with a lot more big money to even get going on things. And I'm not 100% that this is going to be all that we ever needed to do. But that's why we're here. I would like to find out. Now the pipe, give yourself a chance. By that I mean make it a most direct route to where your heating plant is going to be. Because the longer the pipe is, there you go, you can use long heating pump stations to longer heating pipes. Let's see where the end is. You want to go up to here. That's the longest you will go. I do know that this is a pretty good distance away, just one length of the pipe for your heating plant. So 1,000 meters was just a little more than I wanted. So let's get a heating plant. Now, heating plants. I believe small heating plants are not viable anymore at all. Like, don't even bother. They don't... If you get the productivity penalty and you can't produce enough heat, you will not survive your winter. Doesn't matter how many people you have, because only producing 30% of what a small heating plant can do, the small heating plant only produces 42 gigajoules of heat versus 210 of the big one. So it produces about a fifth. 1/5 of the large heating plant. If you cut that by 3 again because of your productivity, your heat is not going to be sufficient. So for a city, for any type of city, you cannot use a small heating plant right now. Because if you have a problem, you're just going to die in the winter and done. So don't go there. Don't do it. Don't try it. Don't. There you go. Those are my 2 cents on that one. I would like to put... I suppose I would like to put an electric substation somewhere here. I'm going to put it a little further away. Why? Because I would like to put the first industry here. Usually the first industry is construction related. But I'm looking around. There is no gravel in this whole area. There's no gravel that I can even start taking. Maybe there's a little gravel here in the water. And we can check that really easy, but yeah, look at that. There's gravel source 0, no gravel. Where's our closest gravel? Somewhere in the mountains, probably. Yeah, when you start your map, that's something you want to look for. But I wasn't looking for what industries we can afford to build, because there is forest here. There is more than enough farm space here that we could make a food industry or even clothing and all those things. It's just for your construction, gravel is not the best starting setup anymore. If you watch my second episode, gravel costs so much and takes so long to pay you back that it is actually probably worth it to stick with your stick with importing gravel for a very long time. So this is not too far off from what I would normally, or what I would recommend now. For a while I always went for gravel first, it just felt right, but now it just doesn't feel that way anymore. So that's another small change, but I think that change is unrelated for Crime and Justice. That's more related to, it's just doing the math. It's not worth it anymore. Let's get this one to a spot that I like. I went a little further than I wanted to. Right there, and then come down here nice and straight. That looks representable, I think. That's fine. And now we have power there. We will have heat. We have all of that set up. We have a couple citizens coming in, which will actually be a problem. But that's okay. We'll figure that out when we get there. I'll just get a couple things built. I guess I can click this button first. Then I can go over here and build a couple things with rubles that we need. All of this needs to be built. This definitely needs to be built. You can try to build a heating setup or heating plant by yourself. From experience, I know that's never enough time. And it's just horrible, terrible. I would actually like to build you like this. Good. I would like to build you also on dollars, if I can. Great. All that's built. Just making sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. Whatever buildings do I want? I need the secret police. I need this guy. Really, all big buildings, you don't have a real choice anymore for the crime and justice stuff. You can try to build a prison, but once you're behind, it will kill... It will just not make your people very happy. That's not really worth it. Do you need to build all of this at once? No, you can slow it down and do your own way and find your own things to do. I'm just doing it to see what the minimum is that we actually do need. When we're done with this, is that the actual minimum? You can argue about that. I think that's very valuable and very okay to do. I will just say for right now, this is the minimum. Okay, so we spent 1.2, probably a little more, the prison is not done yet, $1.2 million already just on the basic infrastructure, and we have not built everything yet. Also, this little piece there makes me a little scared that we may be a little far for our heat, but maybe not. Get this one all built. Cool. I'm going to stop time once it's actually done running down. That will be good, but where's the next thing? No, not bus platform. Depot. You do need a road depot. Without it, you can't buy any road vehicles. Well, you can't use any road vehicles outside the construction office, and that's not what you want. Okay, then distribution office. Yes, buy new vehicles. You need a covered hole for food, for clothes, and electronics. You don't need 3, but I use 3 because they're going to go through food in a really fast. And there's generally one truck that gets stuck with electronics in the truck bed, and neither of those things are very helpful. So I'm going to do that. Then you will always need fuel. Get your tanker. And then you need one more. What should it be? What should it be? In this case, why did I build the small one? I thought I built the big one. Normally I would build the big distribution office just because now you need a dumper still. You will probably need some open hulls for bringing in construction materials and so on. So let's cheat because this is not right yet. Yes, delete all of those vehicles. Thank you. You go away, you go away. Obviously that costs a little bit of money, but that is okay. And then I'm going to correct my mistake. Distribution office does cost a little bit of money, so take that as a warning there. Don't do what I just did, but here you go. Built the bigger one, just like that. It looked like I had automatically purchasing things on. That is not very helpful, but we can turn that off and then we fix it the way we need it to. Actually, I should probably turn that off right now. I know that if I go to gas station, there's this auto purchase button down here. You can turn that off just like that, and then it should be fine. Can you please get built? Thank you. Okay, let's do this again. So we're at about 1.4 million, ignoring the 50,000 ruble that we already spent on nothing. So we need a tanker, we need a couple open hulls, we need a couple, covered hulls, we need a couple of open hulls. Dry bulk is good, but you can usually assign these directly to drop off the cement at the concrete plant. Dumpers, I like dumpers because coal and gravel are the 2 things that you need to do a lot with in the beginning. So let's assign this one. This is how I usually like to do things. It appears that the new code respects the order a little more. So whatever is on top of your list in your distribution office, or construction office for that matter, is going to be considered first if it's available to work with. So yeah, unload stuff there. That looks good. Unload stuff here. That looks good. Then you have an orphanage. They need stuff. Then you have a prison. They need stuff. Then you have all of these extra buildings that could take fuel. I'm not going to do that because we have a fuel station not that far away from them, so they can figure it out from there. Plus, we need coal out here. So let's double check our list. Yes, unload, food, clothes. This looks good. I would like you to go to about 50%, maybe 40%, because I want to make sure that the food is always really high. On all your other buildings, make sure that you set your limit, because if you don't, you will potentially spend a lot of money on clothes and nothing on food, or the other way around. And that's not going to be very good for you. Get this one also split about 80-20. That looks good. I will make sure that I turn off the auto purchase just because that was an accident. Auto purchase off, auto purchase off, auto purchase off. Thank you. I think some of these probably have auto purchase for fuel. It's a little unfortunate that I forgot that. But that's okay. They're just going to start with a little bit of fuel and then they're going to be out of fuel. No problem. Obviously, this costs a little extra money if they import it right away, but since we are close to the border, it's not a huge amount of difference. So I think we'll be okay. This, I hope, is the last one. Then here's the new overview. You can still see what the influence is, but you can also see what they can touch. So there's something new. Yay! New stuff. And that looks good. This one is just going to need coal. You need power supply. We'll get to that. I think they're all good to go. So now, something that I like to do, you don't have to. I want to make sure that I control everything that we import. So we're importing coal. We are importing food, clothes, electronics, and fuel right now. Nothing else should go in. Now, I was a big proponent of not giving electronics to my citizens pre-Crime and Justice. However, the meta has changed. At this point, citizens will use and require more electronics all the time because electronics will also break. And breaking electronics means your people need to buy them again. So back in the day, they essentially bought one and that was it. And they were done with it. Now they will buy one and we'll buy one again and we'll buy one again and we'll buy one again and we'll buy one again. You get the gist of it. Also, if they don't get electronics, they will be unhappy. Also, if they will want electronics more frequently. Well, besides the purchasing thing that I just talked about, but that's also a problem. So yeah, electronics are a thing now. They are desired more by higher educated people, so it may play into your decisions on how you structure your republics. But honestly, I think that will fall under the cracks. But maybe not. Maybe for you, it will be fine. I just set up the what's this? The refrigerator to pick up meat from here and then park at the store. Everything else will come through the distribution office, so it shouldn't be blocking anything anywhere. And that sounds good. Now what we're going to do is just let these guys do their thing. One of the things we have to do is actually import power. If you forget that, there's a problem, but now everyone should have everything that they need. We're importing whatever we need, and I can read the chat just a little bit. Rail distribution office is great for making sure don't sell off all my coal via train, indeed. Like tourism start, the otherwise closed, then go on gravel. Tourism is not a good source of income anymore if you don't produce all the stuff that they consume because you're barely breaking even. You can still make money, but not as much as before the 70% nerf. Bauxite prices are great. Indeed, bauxite seems like a really good starter industry now besides oil. Oil still seems a little boring, a little easy. Bauxite, you actually have to set up a little more infrastructure, I think. And you can actually use workers for it more. But also bauxite is very independent of workers if you wanted to. So there's that. Adsmuda, is nuclear fuel manufacturing plant good at start because it makes a lot of money? Yes. But nuclear is just... It costs a lot to get started, but once you start it, it's usually a pretty good setup. Soviet iPhones, indeed. I don't know why the game didn't create a medic structure within a pharma factory, chemicals. I'm not sure that we're done yet because all the research is not even really started at this point. So just be patient, it'll be fine. Store has 2 spots. Yes, the regular shop has 2 spots right here. Like that. Always. The store itself may have only, like the actual store may only have 1. But I don't place it off enough. It looks like 1. It may still have 2. Did it? Maybe it actually says that on the thing. Stations per vehicle, loading, unloading. 1. So there you go. I don't know if that's the one you were asking of, but that's the one that was curious to me. Great. There's a medical research tree plant. Yes. Okay. The next things that you need, we're at about $1.4 million already spent. We need to get some vehicles. Obviously. Over here, get your fire station vehicles, whatever is valuable. Apparently I only have 1 or these 2 that are not modded. The speed level 4 is really not worth it. So I'm just going to get 2 of these. That should be good. Police, they are like the secret police that they can't work unless they have vehicles. Whatever you want. I think they just added a couple more police cars. Oh, I didn't mean to get that one. This is the mod. I don't want to use that. 3 of them. I don't know if this is enough. We will see if that is enough. Workers. Look at how many workers this thing needs. 20 regular staff and 40 educated workers if you run it on full speed. Which, so far, I can tell you can't really run it too low. You need a lot of people to get this going. Then over here, this is only agents, 30 of them. We're already at 70 educated workers, and you have to multiply that by 3 to get all the staffing done for all the iterations, not iterations, but shifts. That's the word I was looking for. So there's that. For government loyalty, again, I'm starting to use this more. I honestly don't know what this government loyalty really impacts, besides they can maybe figure out how loyal people are faster. I haven't tested that yet. Over here, I want loyalty for employees and loyalty for students. If you're not loyal enough, I don't want you to come educate yourself, because that's just wrong. Again, over here, you can still set your loyalty, and I would encourage you to do that a lot more now, and then you can change your whatever you want to do here. Play with that. Propaganda is probably your best bet at the beginning, but it doesn't always do exactly what you expect it to do. Here is your crime sentencing that you can set, but court staff, 50 for regular people and 30 more educated people. From before, we had 100 educated people now. We are at 40 here, 20 here, and 50 here, so 110 regular people just for these. The university, obviously this is more than we need right now, but 50 people. We are over 200 people just for this little section of buildings that we have to build now that we didn't actually have to build before. You still have to multiply that by 3 if you want to run it fully. That is a city by itself. That is over 600 people that you need already to just get this going, and you're not taking care of a shop, you're not taking care of a hospital, you're not taking care of the prison even. So everything else that still needs to be staffed is still there. So 25 people here, 18 people there. You don't need to staff them 100% right away. Absolutely, I hear you say that already. But you have to staff enough to fill the workplaces in these buildings, and none of these buildings have any financial return. All they do is keep your citizens happy, which is a return in itself if you want, but it's still very expensive. There's the prison, 70 workers here. Definitely reduce that. At the beginning, you're not going to have many prisoners needing to go to prison. So keep that number low. I think we are pretty close. I didn't change this one yet. That's embarrassing. That one goes there. Clothing goes a little higher. 8 tons. That looks pretty good. Okay. What do we need next? I think we just need about 3 buses, 2 or 3 buses that have a nice capacity. Only need up to 30. There's not a good 30 passenger bus in the vanilla version at the beginning, unless you need to take a bunch of small ones, which is maybe what I recommend. Let's just take 4 of these with line spacing, and they should be able to take care of the heating plant. Actually, instead of using that, I'm going to use the bus stop that I already built there, just so that I don't have to change my line later on. This may make my life a little easier. So get your buses, send them all off, then click on your line details and set up line spacing so you have a good frequency. And there you go. Another change in this game is how workplaces are filled. Before, you would be really annoyed if your factories had 80% productivity and then it would go almost down to 0, and then 80% again and almost down to 0. The problem there was the workplace opened up, and that is at that point when someone in a residence would be like, yep, I can go work at that place now. They would leave the residence and would go to the factory. The whole time it took the resident to go from its residence to the factory spot was essentially reserved and nobody else could take it. So you had a really long time of low productivity. They changed that. Now the productivity is more fluid. So people can get to your factories even if there's a spot already taken, but if it either predicts or it just ignores when places will become available. So you can keep your factories at 80-90% productivity more now than before. So another change that's there. So throwing in a bunch of buses here should be fine and should keep this one running nicely for a while. I hope at least. Cool. I don't think I'm missing anything. I will build everything down here right now. Or using rubles just because that's what the worker's gonna want. There you go. How many workers do we have? We got 1,000 citizens, about 780 workers. Let's see if they can do something with this. That's interesting. Saraf. Bill and I spent 20 hours trying not to use the justice system. Yes, we did. Hopefully the future plans are for smaller buildings too, like a county courthouse and jail for less offenses. Yes, if you rewind, that's in the plans. If you watch today's regular video, Swedish People breaks down everything we did not to use the legal system, indeed. Mods have taken care of it now. Yes, and I may use mods for my current season, but I would really like to not, just because that's how I roll. And there we go. Good, we have some professors here, that is excellent. Actually, we have a lot of staff. But if you have more staff than professors, that's not really helpful. And also government loyalty. I may have to reduce that for students just for smart reasons. We don't need 800 million people working here. That's not really what this is about. Live vehicle mechanism, yes. We need some ambulances for sure. So just take a few. I do think they may have added some new models here, but nothing too crazy. Keep this number nice and low. Adjust your numbers because you will need so many workers now, so many more than before, that it's really important that you keep an eye on what's going on. I think this is all good. Yeah, but as you can see, we have 1,000 workers. They're obviously not running away right now, but your happiness is 67%. The max happiness you can get to, or you can approach now, is about 80%. No longer 100%. You can get to 100%. But to get to 100%, you have to supply everything, give them alcohol, and radio and TV on top of that, plus cars. You literally need to give them everything to get to 100% happiness. And it's not impossible, but I would say aim for 80% for right now, especially in the early game, because the radio station and the TV station is another building that is so big and expensive and uses a lot of workers that it's not really feasible? Yeah, let's go with feasible to do that. But the amount of workers that I have, as you can see, do I want passengers? Say yes, I allow passengers. The amount of workers that I have right now is not filling a lot of these workplaces at all. Like a few there, a few here, that's good. Do we have a crime yet? We have one crime already reported. Uh-oh, it's a serious crime. Chance to solve, pretty high. That's good. Once this chance to solve goes down and you have a lot of crimes not being solved, your happiness will go down. Also, when you have criminals going back into the system, the happiness will go down in those buildings. So, very dangerous. But as you can see, 1,000 people that I have right now, not enough. Not enough to get all of this working. I don't think I had people go into all of these buildings, but maybe I did. There may be one building in here that is very open. Oh, new overlay. I know the Seraph is very excited about this one, but you can actually see where is it? Free flats. Free flats. Not in here, it's not in here. Is it here? Uneducated, low education, children can go to school. tourism, lifespan, can't visit doctor, more crimes, all the crimes, not patrolled crimes. Where is it? Construction, free flats, there you go. 23, 24, oh, okay, so these are all pretty much full. Excellent. Wow, they're 3/4 full. So let's continue with the thing. Let's use some dollars, because I honestly don't remember if this one will import third world country workers or regular workers. Nope, they're all like this, and we will need a lot of educated workers just because work citizens currently without power. Excuse you. No. Not how this works. There you go. Get this one full with educated workers. Same with this one, because we need so many agents, so many police officers, and so many teachers. That's just the thing you have to do. The rest we can hopefully do randomly. But as you can see, just with these buildings, I just almost doubled the population. Let's see how that's going to go. Free flats are the last icon. Yes, now that I noticed. And the power heating. And is he powering the heating plant? Yeah, we're powering it. There's a power station right there. But we are also before summer, so that's not going to make a huge impact. Let's see what's going on here. Sport problem, pub tavern problem. This could become a problem. Now, you can see that I did not add a pub. Should I have added a pub, you may ask? Well, I will say no until I'm convinced otherwise. A pub will increase your happiness. Your happiness will increase your productivity. That is good. But a pub will decrease your health. Your health is the main driving factor for your birth rates in your republic. If you have a high birth rate, you have a high population growth, and high population growth means more workers. At some point, you don't need more workers. Everyone that's gone to the end game or later stages in the game knows that at some point you just run out of residence room, and you get a lot of escapes out of that. At that point, you should definitely add pubs and give them as much booze as they want, because then happiness goes up and productivity should go up too. At this point in the game, in the beginning, the first city, I would argue, don't buy a pub. Let your population grow fast, be healthy, have the productivity down a little bit, but your next city, make that one the productive city. The first one is more to make your republic grow, because that's the thing that takes the longest. Well, making money also takes a very long time, so it's somewhere in between there. Let's see what we do here. The courthouse right now is pretty well staffed with what we have, and we don't have much going on there, so you don't have to worry about this much. We already have children in care, but not as many as I thought we need, so that probably means we don't have a lot of escapes. Excellent. Kindergarten is without power supply. I think that means B-Ball Joe messed up, because if we don't have power here, people are not as happy as they should be. I think they have heat, they just don't have power. What is the right answer there? Probably. I'm really surprised to see that it still technically works, so I may just leave it there. But the right answer would be just to make sure that your kindergarten does get power when it's appropriate. It just doesn't get power from here or from there, so it's a little unfortunate, and B-Ball Joe just messed up. But it's okay. You could just move this one. The kindergarten is not that expensive, and it does look like it's still working. Over here, we are now full of workers and professors, so that is good. Secret police agents, it's not full, but I'm pretty sure that we know all the loyalty and all of these workers, so that is excellent, which tells me we can probably reduce this number. And over here, this looks good. We don't have any crime sitting there, so that's nice. Here's the over there that I talked about earlier. They can investigate all the crimes in all of these areas, which is nice. We have one prisoner. Yep. And that's all we need. So, yeah, this is looking pretty well. What's going on over here? I've not noticed any real issues with the pub now, with less than 50% addition, but kept productivity up. Yes, it seems that way too, but I wonder if they're gonna make it a little more extreme. So I wouldn't sleep on that fact that it looks like it's okay for right now. But maybe it's fine. Maybe it's gonna be fine forever. We're at 1,800 people right now, 7% unemployment. 7%. We're pretty full here. Like, we can't really do much more. This truck is probably running up and down a lot. our high school is overload. Oh no, it's in the classroom. It's not in the school yet. But same thing here. If your productivity goes down, let's just take this one. Average productivity 78%, but he's 82% happy. That's awesome, but it's not going to stay that way. Cool. Also looks fine. So yes, at this point, we have 1,800 people and only 5% unemployed. What does that mean? What does that really tell us? Is everything that I've built necessary that requires workers? Well, you could argue that the orphanage is not 100% necessary, but it only takes 30 people to work this. So, maybe. Courthouse, absolutely. Without the courthouse, you can't take care of what the police finds, and therefore criminals will be in your system, and that will keep your happiness low. Definitely need that. Do you need a hospital? Yes. Not even looking at the cost, I'm just looking at the people. Do you need the secret police? Yes, because loyalty is very important. Do you need a university? You need the university within the second year. You can wait the first year if you want to, but you don't need it. Everything else, I would argue, is completely necessary and justified. And I found that if your unemployment is less than 10%, you run into issues of just understaffing of everything. Because of the new mechanic, I think it changes your unemployment percentage by about 10% down when you play your existing game, because of just the new mechanic on how workplaces are assigned now. So 7%, 100 people unemployed workers is really, really, really tiny. We obviously have 100 people waiting here, so we have some room for adding a bus or so for some industries, but there's not a lot. I would argue that we probably can't even get a full food factory going, which I say that like I can't try it, so let's just do that. Let's get a let's just put a food factory right here. We're gonna add some bigger buses, don't worry. Put a food factory here. Put a where are you? Grain storage on one side. Don't want to make this too complicated. And put a warehouse on the other side. That's more to try it out. Right here. No, actually, I want you here. Cool. And then actually we can use this as an example for how to use the rail distribution office, which is pretty cool. Get that one there, get this one here. Obviously you can build all of this by hand if you really want to, but no, but you can, period. But I'm not going to do it. That's the only but. That one can go there. Now the question is, if I build it this way, rail may not be the best setup. If I build it the other way, I could use rail to do everything that I want to do here, and I want to use rail. So I may change this in just a second, unless... No, I can't. No, I can't. So get rid of this one. I need to be able to put the rail station in between those two, or in a way that it accesses everything, otherwise it's just a big waste of stuff. And we don't do that here. That's the wrong way. Flip this way, please. I would like to be able to see something. Thank you. That looks good. This one should be pretty easily connected over here. Could you put a second one of these there? Yeah, totally, if you really wanted to, but this is not to set up the best, most efficient food production. This is just to test something out. Do we have enough workers after we set up the initial city to run even the simplest of production lines, which in this case I'm going to call food. Is food really easy? Yeah, I think so. Just crops turn into food, nothing else. So get that one here, get that one there. This all looks good. You have power already, so get built. We still have some dollars, so may as well use those. That's something I do all the time. Just get rid of all your dollars at the beginning, because we can't really... There's not a lot you can use dollars for. What is something that dollars are good for? They're really good NATO harvesters that you should use. They are great. But outside of that, there's not a lot that I would say you need dollars for. For right now, let's turn this one off. Yeah, let's get started on the rail distribution office. Let's look at these numbers and see what just happens. Transport Fever 2 showed us. And 1800 Soviet Union not exist yet. Yes. I'm not following everything. The real Some Shady. What's the lowest rate you could realistically go without breaking immersion? Like 1800-ish. +1 for B-Wall Joe posters. The man basically bringing the game for us. Yes, please. I wouldn't go too low. It's just... The only thing you do by lowering the starting year is the time it takes to get to a reasonable rate of progress. That's really all you do. Is that really worth it? Maybe. I enjoyed it. Doing it once, I'm not sure that I'm going to do it again. Okay, rail. We're going to do this the lazy way by not building rail ourselves. Doesn't mean we can't do it, just means that I'm not going to do it right now because it takes forever to do. So let's get a rail connection. Aww. I really would like you... Oh, there's not a lot of room here, is there? I'm going to do it here. Give me one there. Give me one here. Yes, I can. Now, don't use your bulldozer. Don't do a kernel failure. Do the right way. I'm not even going to call it the B-Ball Joe way because I mess this up often enough. There we go. Got some connections. Got some rail. With the rail distribution office, technically you only need one rail. Should I do that? Yeah, I should. Why not? Let's do it like this. Then I say this one. I don't actually have to do anything. I can just assign those later on when it's appropriate. But here we go. Rail, connect over here. This is not thinking really far in the future. Again, this is just a tutorial map. I'm not going to use this for things later on, so calm down. It will be fine. Cool. We have that one there, and now we can import crops and export food. Wonderful. How does the rail distribution office work? I will show you. First, it's under distribution, so it's down here on the forklift, and then you can go on train distribution office. Great. Most of you probably found this already, so no news there. The first thing that you may or may not know, the rail distribution office, even though it looks like it has a through connection, does not let you go through yet. It is a request we have out to Peter. Please fix this. What's the headline on that one? He said he asked his developer to do it, and we'll see if that happens. So first thing to note, the rail distribution office does not go through. You cannot put it in the middle of a main line. You have to connect it to a main line more like this. It's not ideal, but it's the way the cookie crumbles right now. I'm actually not going to do that because I know the outside rail is the rail that's going to be the correct rail to connect this with. So there you go. That's the first thing. The second thing, rail distribution office. Do you have power? You probably don't have power, do you? I didn't place it with that in mind. I may have to do that again. It needs power to... Oh no, it definitely doesn't have power. No, we're not going to redo all of that. We're just going to take some power away from this area. Let's get... Sure. Actually, I like this. That's a better spot for it. If I would have planned those out earlier, it would have been better all along, but I didn't, therefore it's worse. Get you there, get you here, connect in there, get all of this built. Thank you. Cool. Rail distribution office. Now, the rail distribution office is by no means something that you have to build right away, so keep that in mind. And we are still at 1,800 people, slowly growing. That's great. 1,300 workers, 68% happiness. That's going down. Government loyalty is actually going up, and I bet you that is an effect of me setting the minimum loyalty for all my workers to 30%. Very important. But yes, we have the rail distribution office now, and it has power. Why does it need power? Because it requires fuel for the cargo train, or for the diesel trains, which is what I prefer using. You don't have to, but I just prefer it. Then we're going to set up everything as a single track, because we can with what we have. And I would say, are we slowly running out of money? Yes, we are. Great. So we almost spent all $2 million on an 1,800 people. 1,800. Yeah, no, you know what I'm saying. And here we are. Now, how does this thing work? It is pretty much like a distribution office. Pretty much. The first thing I'm going to set is this one. Again, the order and the queue matters, so keep that in mind. I'm going to set that one up first, and then I'm going to set this one up. Pretty simple. And we're going to do pretty much everything in all places, and then you're like, I can't do anything with this. You're like, yeah, no, you can't, because you don't have any vehicles yet. So, get the vehicles. I'm actually going to run this time forward. Diesel locomotive, because we don't have electric track yet. Whichever one you want to pick, I really don't care. This one cost... Oh, this is actually really interesting. I'm kind of surprised by that. In Season 4, I started in 1945, and this train ride here is almost 200,000 ruble. at this point in time. So it's a lot more expensive. That could be related to how much steel I already purchased and needed and just the time that went forward. But it seems like, just by that, just randomly thinking of it, that the earlier you start, the more expensive everything will get over time. Is that a good or bad thing? No. It just means that if you start in 1960, after 15 years, this train would cost 200,000, or if you start in 1945, after 15 years, this train will cost 200,000. So, just an interesting observation, I think. Ah, yeah, water. Good. So, maybe keep that in mind. Anyways, pick a train that's fast. Don't pick the slow train. I'm just going to go with this one because I really like this one. And we're only going to do one train. Only one train. And then we're pretty simple here because all we need is crops and food that can both be stored in boxcars. How many do we need? Oh, I should probably zoom in a little bit because they get stored on this yard, as you can see. And you can put as many down as you have money for. If you're out of, well, not right. You can put as many down as you have space in the rail yard for. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And now, since you set that, you can actually tell it what you want it to do. I want you to load crops here, unload food there. I want you to unload crops here and load food here. Pretty simple, right? Nothing complicated there. And now I say go. If you look at everything, it's like, nothing's working. What the heck? What the heck is going on? Well, let me tell you something. And actually, I will tell you two things afterwards, after I prove that it works. The first thing, this office requires you to put signals down. You can no longer play signalless if you want to, if that's your thing right now. So placing the first signal here, we'll send the train down. Pretty simple, not too complicated. But right now, because you see this orange includes this block, and the block includes the train or the building that the train is on. So this train can go anywhere because right now it's blocking itself. Even though, you can see this here, there's a blue line there and there's an orange line here. Technically, this should be all blue because it's all kind of connected. So what you have to do is make sure that you put signals in the right place and then this will work. Cool. That is the first hurdle that I saw some people having problems with. Now that the train is in there, it's just a single train, there are no problems. If you use a rail construction office or similar and build your own rail, it's different. it's very different. Because you need more signals and you also need passing tracks and other things like an actual rail network. You only use one distribution office train, you don't really have those problems. So the train is going to go over here, has its tasks, it says load me up with crops, and that should be good. I should actually probably limit this to just food because we have the silo that can take care of all the crops that need to come in here. Wonderful. So train is coming, and as you would expect it, let's just follow this one so I can see what's going on in the chat. Actually, can we slow down a little bit? Much more fun. Thank you. And we'll just do the thing that's supposed to do. I'm not sure what the chat is talking about, but it sounds like Sirov is taking care of it, so that's excellent. Alright. Yes, so train is getting here. Doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Wonderful. There's also, this has been highlighted now for a while when you have it selected for what train you're actually currently clicking on. But you're unloading, everything is great, and this goes in there, which then in turn goes into the food factory when it needs it. Wonderful. No problems there. Now when this guy is done, let's get it done faster. Come on, there you go. The guy's unloaded, 375 in here. Wonderful, you go back home. What's he going to do now? Probably go get some more stuff. Actually, no. Why is he not getting more stuff? Well, the destination building doesn't have more than 30% connected to it. Well, let's check. 46%. Yep, it's fuller than 30%, so there you go. It's just simple math. If you want to get more stuff in here, tell it. So once we hit 50%, this will essentially leave. And 50% is also the rate that this train can essentially load. Number 3 is 75. Now I want to show you something. I'm sending him back home with Control H, just like it was before with all the other offices. When you want to send people home, you can also use this button up here. When your vehicle is not here, you can always pull them in. There's this little button. Wagon size, 1. I don't know that it actually works with other things, but the minimal count of wagons that you want someone to come out here is whatever you set it. Let me set it to 4. If you then set this train length, and 155 is the length of this building, you cannot make a train that is longer than this. I asked if there is a plan for making a longer rail distribution office just for that reason, but this is about 155 meters. That is the length that your train can be. You can't go longer than that. So even when you go in here and type, come on, let me, there you go. If I type 300, enter, it's still 155. It just reset itself. If you go smaller, let's say 45, it will do it. It sets it to 45. But now I set minimum count of wagons 4 and maximum train length 45 meters. What do you think is going to happen? Nothing. Can't do anything. It clearly wants to fill up the silo with the rest of the percentage, but it can't do it because 4 wagons, which you can actually measure right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 wagons are 59 meters, plus the train. Plus the train, so that's not going to work. 1 wagon, however, we'll do it with 1 wagon. See, let's find out. 1 wagon has a length of... Use this tool. This tool is great. Click there and click there. 1 wagon is 15 meters. And the train, let's give it another 15 meters, maybe a little longer. So if I set the minimum to 1 wagon count, it would probably do this. If I increase the maximum train length to something that can actually hold 4 wagons, it will actually do it, and will only take 4. I don't... Oh, the maximum train length is 90 meters. 4 wagons, 90 meters, just fits in there. Cool. Get the guy back home and say same thing. I mean, you can play with this. You probably get the gist of it. But if I set it now to 4 wagons and maximum length is 120, it will do this. It just means that we'll never go with just 1 wagon if you don't want it to. And that can be really important. It can be completely... null and whatever. Let's reset this to 155.1, get you back home, and now you're going to take all the wagons that you can take because that's the max length. Is this the max length? Is this really... I may be able to add 1 or 2 more wagons actually to the depot, and then I could take those. Let's check that. Your length currently is 120. Yeah, I can add about 2 more wagons in here, and you will take those. 1, 2, 3. 2 or 3. So send you back home, and now you're going to take 1 more. That's how much you're allowed, and you're going to fill up with 425, which is probably, yeah, it's the max. So we'll only go to the max of this thing. If I empty this whole storage, just for fun, this is now just tutorial speaking. If I empty this whole storage, send you back home, you may take more wagons. 1 extra wagon was taken, because now this is 482. And it's so much it's going to take. And as you can see, these blue numbers just indicate the way this is set up is using advanced loading techniques. Wonderful. Nothing too complicated. The other thing that I want to show you, and this guy back home, and this is just a temporary thing that I'm going to show you. It may not work. Like what all the things I just showed you may not work. Why? Well, oh, okay. It doesn't matter for that one. I'm going to try something here because I'm pretty well, it may actually not matter for warehouses. It may actually only matter for aggregate storages. Building without power supply, that is fine. I would like you to not do anything here for just a jiffy. And then go here and essentially just unload crops. We'll just uncheck this guy for a second. At this point, this building doesn't have power. Yes, this is what I want. Nope. Nope. Okay, it works. It works on some storages. I do know that on aggregate storages, it does not work if it doesn't have power. And that's very important. I'm sure that's tripping off some people. But it works for this one. It works for the cargo connection, so that is great. Great news for everybody, I think. Let's just reset this one to the right thing. You don't really want this one anymore as a connection, and yeah, he's still going to try, because he already has his commands, to do what we just told him to do, but we don't actually want him to do that. So come back home and just do another one where you go over here. Great. That's that, and we're at 1,900 people now, still only 10% without jobs. Not great, but what we're going to do is just add a couple workers, and the bus that we already have is pretty quick. No, we're just gonna do 2 of these, get the little orange bus. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Oh, we got him. get these buses on the line, and yeah, they can figure out what they want to do. I'm gonna send this one to the other bus stop just right now. Maybe I can split out these buses a little bit. But yeah, we can just turn this one on and see if we can even make a penny with this. I don't know if we can, honestly. So let's take a tally. Let's take a tally. The city, the original city to build this, cost about 1 million in workers after we were done with everything, including importing some products, fuel, food, clothing, electronics, and meat. All the vehicles that we needed, and then building this city was another $2-ish million. Not exactly, but I think that's a pretty good ratio. And at this point, we're at 2,000 people, 5% unemployed, and we can probably barely staff a factory. Let's actually connect this guy again because it's silly to not. There you go. Thank you. Now we have some more workers. That's excellent, but yeah, that's where we are. So here's the thing. This guy thinks because there is the smallest amount of food. Wow. You're getting a lot less than I expected from you. But I think I set the loading here for food at 0%. And if you do that, it's just going to go whenever there's something in there. So just set it to something more reasonable, whatever percentages you want. And you won't just go out there and do something silly. The other thing you can always do is just set your minimum wagon count. I don't want you to go with just one box wagon. I want you to go with 3 wagons at least for this whole setup. Otherwise, the trip is not worth it. So you use those numbers to your advantage. They seem to work pretty all right. It's just, things are just going to take a little while. We have some people working here. Our unemployment is still around 5%. And let's see how we're doing here. Don't have a ton of police officers. Secret police looks fine. This one is great. I'm actually interested to see in the few months that we played if we had people graduate. Yep. No, university educated actually stayed flat. Nobody has gained anything yet, unless we look at all. Yeah, no, the blue line is pretty flat. The no education is going down. That's great. The basic education is going up. That makes sense. But the blue line is not moving in the right direction. And we don't have kids actually waiting in the classroom. So there you go. We're in July. We haven't had anyone graduate yet. That's important. Average productivity is going down to 75%. It's still okay. Lifespan in the 80s is a pretty okay number now. I know back in the day, 86 was a good number, but now it's a lot lower. Birth rates have actually been reduced just a little bit. I think they should be reduced more, but that's me opinion probably. And yeah, as you can see, this may be the new meta. This may be what you have to do. You can obviously go with modded buildings and all that too, but all that's going to change... Yeah, it's going to change stuff. Essentially, the buildings will be cheaper, but I think your workforce will still be similar that you need. Because even with the smaller buildings, you have to make sure that you keep up with the crime. Because once the crime is sitting here and you don't have enough solved cases, you have a real problem. And that's what you need to avoid. But this seems to be working really well, really well, really well. Yep, all good. There's still some alcohol addiction here, and you can add booze if you want to. So Rob says right now there's not a huge impact, not a huge negative impact at least. And if that is true, that is true. That's great. But another thing that I will tell you is when you do your experiments in this game, don't believe any numbers until you run it at least for 12 game months. Because the effects are so long breath that you won't be able to see everything that's going on before that. So yeah, run it for a full calendar year and see how it goes after that. You're slowly filling up. You're at 14%, 44 tons. Actually producing, I'm kind of surprised. This is producing, it feels like it's producing a lot slower than my small food factory in Season 4. So maybe that's something I have to look at. Cool. Any questions from anyone? Follow this guy just for a while. It's really, this is all that I wanted to talk to anyone about. Maybe if you're just here for the tutorial, I think I shared everything that I know. But we can still continue playing because I have time. can also just go play a different game if you want to, but I have time. If you have time, I have time. We're at an hour and a half. That's kind of what I expected this to be. So yeah, what's going on? Just like the birth rate change, it's too low in early game, needs to be on a curve, higher early, lower later. I think it's too high right now still. If I look at my season 4, the birth rate still feels a little out of control, and I can't even keep up with the workers, with the residences, even the early stages. However, technically I've now played for 15 years, and I only have 2,000 workers, so, or 2,000 people. That's after episode 6, not after today. So yeah, it's maybe a skewed view, but I can also, I don't have enough money to go bigger. But I mean, here we are. You know, you can't start with hard money. I would not recommend you starting with hard money, because all you're gonna do is take out a lot of loans and be really slow. Probably don't need easy money, because it's easy money. It's too much money. The medium money seems like a pretty good alternative. I think it's 5 million ruble and $1.5 million or something like that, and you can essentially spend all your dollars on your city and have a pretty good setup. That sounds pretty good. Okay, let me catch up on the chat here. More booze and crime. I'm kidding. Yes. It's motor capacity skill, small in comparison to long trains on ships. Yes, indeed. I am shocked by the change in the university and how slow they learn now. Previously, a uni would be enough for 3 of my small cities, then barely enough for 1. Yep. I like the change, but it definitely changes things. Now can build huge trains. Yes, because before you could end up with your whole population with a degree. I still have that in season 4, so I think they should increase the university education time frame a little more than they have already. Because yeah, I think pretty much everyone that's eligible in season 4 is university educated now, and I don't like it. What's the prison capacity? Like they have a sentence to go back to work. Like they have a sentence and go back to work. Yes, pretty much. There's one thing I forgot. Sorry about that. Which is a new building, or a new vehicle, which is called a prison bus. Ooh, a prison bus. Yes, a prison bus. Apparently there are mods already for that. I didn't know that was a thing. But, prison bus, right here. What does it do? Well, you can tell it to go to any place really, but the only thing it will transport is prisoners, and will take prisoners somewhere. However, even though you can tell it to transport prison, I'm clicking on all of this so I can show you. You can tell it to go to all of these places, but it won't actually take people. Oh, new message, cool. It won't actually take prisoners to any of those places, because there are only certain workplaces prisoners are allowed at. So here you go to the prison, nice and large, a lot of people working here, and some visitors in there. Just to make sure, there are 8 workers here, there are 8 prisoners here. Some of them are workers. When they have a shovel in their icon, they are currently working. I clicked on the wrong one. Let me click, there we go. They're currently working. Now, the problem with prison workers is they start their work shift right away. Like, they go from free time to work time, free time to work time, free time to work time. So you have to ensure that your prison bus makes it to the prison on time to pick them up right when the work shift starts, which is essentially impossible unless you have a really, really, really high frequency. And then you'll pick them up and take them anywhere like you would normally take a worker, and then they will work there like a normal worker. Average productivity seems to be pretty high, honestly. 80% for 51% happiness. This is high. This is really high. I wonder what the actual impact is. Let's see if we can find a comparison real quick. 84% for 77% happiness. That's nice. I would like, there's someone 60. So here, this person essentially has the same happiness, but a much lower average productivity than the person in the prison. So the prison workers seem to have a really high productivity. That is great. What can you use prison workers for? So far, I've only found, and he actually picked a couple up. That's so nice, but he didn't drop anyone off. And that's really the main thing that I'm telling you. Yeah, he was just at a kindergarten, and hey, nobody got off the bus. Actually, I think he may have picked up some workers from the bus stop. And I don't even know if he's going to drop them off in the prison, because whenever he dropped them off in the prison before, they would just leave the prison and not work at the prison. But Let's see, this is a worker. These are all workers. Let's see where they go. Where are you? Nope, you're still on the bus. So you're probably just gonna get dropped off when you're done with this. This is just testing things. So you're going in there, and then you're going back. He's over here. Going back in here, and you're dropping off everyone and you're picking up new people. But you're not really doing anything. It's just a weird mechanic that may be considered broken right now. But where can you have them work? I've only found some very low skill areas. One is mining. You can send them to any mine. I'm just going to place one here just for fun, not because it's a good place to place it. You go there, build your thing, give me this, build that, and you can assign them to work in there. Wonderful! That is, I would consider that something relatively useful, honestly. Can I please delete all of this? Yes, thank you. And then add from there to, once this is done. Building still not finished. Come on, hurry up, please and thank you. There we go. Then you can go there, and now the prisoners will actually work in there if he picks up someone. Also, he doesn't pick up anyone unless they are currently on a work shift. So there's a whole timing thing that is a little weird, but now you should be able to get workers in here, which is excellent. I would argue. There's the guy. I want to follow you because I want to see what the workers are that you have. Go pick someone up. Yep, picked up some prisoners, and they are going to work in the coal mine now. Ooh, wonderful. I would like to check 78%, 85%, 79, 75. Yeah, this one, 75% with 37% happiness is actually a really good deal, and they just started the work shift. So you can use them for things like mining. You can also use them on fields if you want. You cannot use them in construction, you cannot use them in skilled labor, you cannot use them as teachers, you cannot use them as regular workers. So there is some threshold, but for right now, mines and fields are where we can use them. Are they super worth it? I mean, there are people in your republic that you should probably use. So, yeah. But it's good. Oh, you don't have meat. Oh, no. Oh, no. Let's get them a refrigerator, because apparently I forgot that. It's a little extra money that you have to plan for in the beginning, but it should be fine. Wait until unload it, wait until load it, because always. And there you go. Yeah, that was the thing that I forgot about earlier. Our population is still growing. We're still only at 6% unemployment. This one I don't expect to be super full all the time. And you actually look like... oh, vehicles without fuel. Yeah, that's very helpful. That is clearly an oversight on my part. Apologies. Get you full. But yeah, that should all work. What else is going on over here? I don't like the workshop production. Yes. Yeah, I can see I like the idea of stretching out the education, making it harder, but it hated stressing and staring at my uni as I watched professors after professor die. But that is fun. That's the fun part. Probably not for everyone, but no, I do enjoy that part where it's just like you have to be really tight. But right now, what is tight? None of the starting options are feasible enough that you can actually make it work. So it's not really tight, it's just impossible. I think my loan right now is close to 2 million, starting with hard money, and that is getting close. But I also paid back over 10 years of money already, so it's a grind. It's very slow. It's totally doable. It's just slower than before if you choose to go that route, which I feel like at some point it turns into real torture, not just a pretend torture that some people say this game is. Christian Sadie, it also says mod stuff, so maybe they'll just include the most popular mods or something. And most of them will be really unbalanced indeed. It's hard to balance the mods with 2 GB of RAM. Thanks to all advice. Have a great day and night. Thanks for the video. Thanks for stopping by, G Swedish. Okay, I still have some time. What does anyone else want to talk about, or mention, or consider, or stuff? I like seeing that you guys just figure out things around yourselves, that you don't need me. I can just be my TV monkey over here and just say things all over the place, and someone picks them up and someone doesn't. Great. I don't think I have anything else. quick poll. Oh, I think I can do a poll. Can I do a poll? Pop out chat, toggle time to poll. Yes, great poll. Was this a tutorial? Nope, I don't want to add more. Okay, I created a quick poll. I can't even see it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Could you please take a second and answer that? It's super simple, nothing complicated. Are they going to sanitation, garbage trucks, etc.? I don't know. I don't know. The radio can only do one job per train at a time, right? No, 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 no. Actually, it's smart. It's smarter than that. The only problem that it has is it can only go to one destination and one source at a time. But if the destination and the source have multiple things that both sides want, it's actually going to combine them. I will show you what I mean. Let's see. Just for funsies. I know crops will work. I guess everything that's in here will work. If we just purchase a couple things, not a lot, just a couple things, and we just confuse it, and you know that there are crops already over here. I'm just going to buy this, and I'm going to tell it to unload, for right now, don't load anything here, to unload essentially everything that it can get its hands on. I'm not even going to separate it. It should work right away. We'll see if it actually will. Oh, and pick up from here, but pick up everything. That's important. I did not check that yet. Do you need anything? What's the problem? You are 99% full. Why? I know that it does this. All destination buildings, all source buildings. What is your problem? I'm trying to prove a point here. Did I? No, I said unload there. This shouldn't matter because it's the border house. I would like you to go over here and do something productive. Would you please? Maybe it doesn't work if I have... Huh. Interesting. So if you do have a minimum count, wagon count, it doesn't work. But yes, here. It's trying to load 230 tons of food, 33 tons of alcohol, 20 tons of chemicals. Which is can all be found in this Gorzon warehouse. So no, it's smarter than that if you set it up in a way. So a centralized warehouse location actually is very useful now. But as you saw, it doesn't work when you set the minimum count of wagons. Because it probably means for alcohol I'm not using the minimum count of wagons that I have there. So that's probably a problem. I actually want to test that now. Can I set this to... So 4 I think is what it was. Pretty sure you're not going to leave. 3, you're not going to leave. 2, not going to leave. Okay, so I think that's the chemicals in there that's only worth 1 wagon full. So yeah, we just have to reduce this to the right number. But it will do the right thing. Also, it will keep the food inside the wagons, and at some point you can actually block your distribution office, like you can block your covered holes in your distribution offices. If you have leftover residue stuff in there, so pay attention to that. 95% say it was a tutorial. That's helpful. So yay. Okay, Rob's mod's reasonably balanced as far as I've seen. Nice, the man's an artist. Yeah, yeah. Okay, if there's nothing else, I will just wrap this up because this is all I wanted to show you, and I think we had a good time. Thank you all for stopping by. As always, I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, maybe hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you can actually see when I go live or when I upload new videos. Or lately I've been doing shorts. Not sure if that's exciting for you, but I've done that. So yeah, slow clap. Yeah, I also have a Patreon. Come by Discord. I know a lot of you have stopped by there now, and that's awesome, but more is better. There's always a lot of cool conversations, even though I haven't been really able to participate in a lot of conversations lately, just busy with a lot of other things, but I appreciate everyone that's there all the time, so please don't hesitate to come say hi. Also, reviews will return. I'm working on it. I have 2 that need to be done. I just haven't gotten to it yet. You could argue that I could have done that tonight, but I also have to be in the mood for it. I'm not always in the mood for it, so yeah. Oh, for everyone, someone's going to ask how you're going to get Crime and Justice enabled. Please Google Steam enabled beta test branch or public test branch or something on Steam. It's on your properties. You just click on it, click on the betas, and then you change it. You have to. It's opt-in. If you haven't changed it yet, you're probably still playing on version 0.8.5. This is version 0.8.6, and that's the Crime and Justice version. But it's beta. It's public test. It's not fully released yet, which means you may find problems with it that you don't like. So play at your own risk. Super fun, super worth it, in my opinion. But yeah, that's all I had. What do we got going on here? On main game, isn't public beta. Thanks for the tutorials. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'll leave this up as a tutorial. If someone complains about it, I may change my mind. But for right now, that's what we're going to do. Again, thanks very much for joining me. I have real problems with saying goodbye through these streams or through my videos. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but I do. But yes, no, thanks for coming. Tomorrow's Transport Fever 2. Saturday is Captain of Industry. Tuesday is Workers and Resources, episode 5. I think we're going to start a rail network. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye. I'm waving. I know I'm live. I'm just giving you a chance to say goodbye and see all the things. I'm trying to insert ads every once in a while at the beginning and at the end just to see what's going on. But, yes. No, don't worry. I know I'm there. As you can see, I have to save it. But now, for real. Bye-bye.